G'day. Will Lewis Hamilton love Ferrari? I found myself asking that question after watching him arrive into pre-season testing today. Certainly Ferrari is the behemoth of Formula One and everybody wants to drive for Ferrari. You can't deny that they have an amazing fan base and the team has rich heritage. But Lewis has made a name for himself as a fashionista, wearing some amazing outfits, and today he sort of slunk into the paddock wearing Ferrari kit. There weren't many photographers or media about, probably a dozen or so, but normally Lewis would walk straight towards us, he'd be wearing something spectacular, and it would be quite a show. Not today. Instead, he walked alongside the walls and at all times had his hand up near his face. I thought that was rather odd. We haven't seen that with Lewis for a long time. To be honest, I thought he'd come in wearing fashionable gear, but I'm sure Ferrari have other ideas. And certainly Ferrari is a peculiar team when it comes to rules and regulations. Their sponsors know that they're very strict, and the sponsors are giving them the money, but they come under all sorts of rules and regulations. Now, Lewis is being paid a lot of money, if we believe what the reports say, and I have no doubt to disbelieve that. I think Ferrari have said, for this sort of money, you need to wear our sponsors' logos. They're paying a lot of money to you. And after his session, instead of walking through the paddock up to the Ferrari hospitality suite, he darted across quickly and went down the back way. Now that's something we haven't seen terribly often from Lewis. Initially he dropped into the wrong hospitality suite and eventually found Ferraris, but to my liking, and I did ask a couple of people whether or not we would see Lewis in fashionable gear later this year, and the responses I got led me to believe no. I also had a quick chat with Zhou Guanyu and I said, because he is a reserve driver for Ferrari and he came in today in Ferrari kit and was all day in Ferrari kit, and he too said, oh, it's up to the team. So I fear that we're not going to see Lewis's magnificent fashion outfits in the paddock. I hope that doesn't eventuate. And look, we could all find tomorrow when he comes in day 2 of testing that he's in something outrageous and things are normal. But for my liking, I just questioned whether or not some of Ferrari's rules might become onerous upon Lewis. Well, that's of interest to me. I think probably you guys are more interested in what he's doing on track, and he was out there in the morning. And at the end of the day, this is where he sat in the timings. Oh, I should say that Angela Cullen, yes, she's back with Lewis, and I did see her picking up a pass for him yesterday. And today, of course, she was in red. She was in before Lewis arrived, delivering his breakfast to his driver's room, and then after the session took his clothing from the garage across to the hospitality suite. Certainly Lewis was the story of the day. Media, plenty of them, gathered out the front of, or out the back of the garage, waiting for him to finish his session. And I looked down the other end where Carlos is, although he didn't drive in the morning session, but he would have been around. Very few media down there. I think you'll find that Carlos will be getting a very easy time of it with the media, purely because of the distance. Now you're probably wondering why there's no noise coming from the track, because this is supposed to be time when the cars are on track. Well, the power's gone out. No power in the circuit whatsoever. No lights, no stuff in the garages, the media centre was dark, so the place is pretty much come to a standstill. The cars are off track at the moment. Other things I saw today, this is a look at all the garages. Now some of the garages didn't have the drivers' names or photos, some did. Most interest was in Lewis and Carlos's pictures. And the Rolex clock is gone. Of course, LVMH, Louis Vuitton, has taken over the sponsorship of Formula One, and as such, the Tag Heuer watch sits at the exit of pit lane, where the Rolex watch used to be. Netflix are back. I caught them hanging around here with Liam Lawson at one point. And Paul Smith, who was the communications manager for Red Bull, was having a joke about Liam's trainer, Declan Foley, sorting out Liam's over-the-top testosterone levels. See you, Michelle.
Yeah.
That's Michelle. He's leaving because there's probably not going to be much more happening today. And of course, we had that drama last year where they had a grate came up and caused all sorts of disruptions to a session, and at the moment it's just starting to rain and it's bitterly cold. But I digress. In fact, I'll digress even further. Fans of the Melbourne F1 race will be delighted because the track invasion is on again this year. Dad's in today, Kimi Antonelli's father, Nico Hulkenberg's dad, chatting here with Jos Verstappen, Max's father. And this year Lewis Hamilton has a new press officer. Meet Ella. Have a look at this. This is an Aston Martin team jacket. There's a bit of tape stuck over a logo, and I asked what it was. It was an alcohol logo. And did you know there are 6 races where F1 teams cannot promote alcohol? All the Middle Eastern races, Baku and Zandvoort. Who would have thought Zandvoort? They love the grog there. Have a look at these wheels. A sponsor, a casino, stumping up to have a roulette wheel on the wheel. But as you can see, there's only 1 0. Of course, a lot of roulette wheels these days have not 1, but 2 or 3 zeros, because it increases the house margin. Now let's go back to the start of the day at 8:50 a.m. All the drivers were required to be at this big dome. Where is it? There, somewhere. probably can't see it because it's going into the background cloud, but there was a big photo shoot, and this was the end photo. But going into the venue, they arrived by buggies. Now, George Russell was the only one to drive his buggy over there. Everyone else was chauffeured, but George took it with great excitement, came in a little bit hot and ploughed on the brakes, leaving this skid mark, and he was impressed with the brakes of that unit. And then going back, Lando Norris was having trouble finding a seat, so he ended up sitting facing backwards with Kimi Antonelli at the wheel in their golf buggy. And inside the dome, setting up for that photo shoot, it was quite a procedure, and I was surprised we were let in. Surprised and thankful. So I got some behind the scenes shots, drivers looking relaxed until they were asked to look at the camera, and I think F1 will be pretty happy with the end result. And if you're wondering who were the last two drivers to roll up, it was the Williams drivers, with Carlos Sainz second last, then Alex Albon a bare minute before they were due to shoot. The whole deal was you had to get there at 10:02 for a on-the-hour shoot, but those two boys were well late. I don't think they'll be fine, but it was noted. Still on the subject of George Russell, I can tell you that he was having a chat with Jos Verstappen in their hotel this morning, and Max rolled up and George shook Max's hand, and it was all very civil. So I'd like to think that all that drama from last year and perhaps earlier this year is now behind them. Certainly Jos seemed to think so. Still on the subject of the weather, it could rain tomorrow. Now, the reason we came to Bahrain for pre-season testing is because Barcelona can often be cold and yucky. Well, it's quite ironic that it's 14 there, yes, but sunny skies, and I doubt they'd have the howling, chilly wind that we have here. Have a look at Ted Kravitz's media pass. He was quite excited to show me this, and I couldn't get the gist of why, and then he said, "That's your photo, Kim, you took that photo of me." So I'm happy to say that I provided Ted Kravitz's media pass photo. Now, this track is about a 25-minute drive from Bahrain. The other day it took me 2 hours to get back. But it's pretty smooth getting here normally, as you can see. But just out behind here is some very interesting countryside. I'm at the back of the track, and there's not much here except for a whole lot of oil wells, piping, and a fuel plant there. And you can actually smell the fuel in the air. It's quite phenomenal. Now, a few kilometres away from there is the Tree of Life. This is it, and I can tell you, it's highly revered here as a tourist attraction, but it's what's around it that floors me. It's pretty much all dirt, but with all these campsites, and they're not like camping in Australia. It's very basic, it's very windy, there's a lot of sand, but it's very popular. So this is one camp I imagine just needs a tent over it, and over here there's a bit of work going on constructing or perhaps deconstructing a campsite. Last night there was a press conference here with Oscar Piastri fronting the media, and it was quite interesting to listen to Oscar. He's becoming quite an eloquent speaker, and when quizzed about what he was excited about the car, he mentioned the fact that the livery is exactly the same. They've made no changes to it whatsoever. He also asked me on the way out whether I enjoyed his burger. He is an ambassador for grilled, and they've named a burger after him. I did a video about that recently. But while we're on the subject of cars and how they look this year, I really love the V-Carb. I think it's fantastic to photograph, and I quite like the steak, not the food, but the car, the Sauber Kick, whatever it's called. I like the dullish green, and also on the Ferrari car, it was obvious to me that it was a lot darker than last year's car, and one of the guys from Ferrari said that he liked it a lot more because he felt that last year's car was a bit too fluoro. Jack Doohan, he was enjoying himself. He went out in the first session today, gave me the heart symbol here, and Liam Lawson is growing a beard. First I've seen that in a picture yesterday. I met Isaac Hadjar's trainer today. This is Harry Mann, M-A-N-N. Oh, I just saw some lights come on here. I think we have power back, and it's now 22 minutes to 6 p.m, so I think it's been off for a good 30 to 40 minutes. So perhaps I better head back inside there and cover whatever action is going to take place in the last hour and a bit of this session. As you can see though, we don't have the lights on the track yet, but it might be that they take some time to warm up. So while I head back into there, can I ask you a favour please? Could you please hit the like button and subscribe for those who haven't yet done so? And for all my extra content on social media, have a click here. Oh, and have a look at kimellman.com for a whole host of merchandise and stuff. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. Oh, wait for this wind.